So the majority of voters in Virginia decided they wanted to redraw voting maps before the midterms in November. But tonight, the Virginia Supreme Court is saying no. And breaking in just the last 5 minutes, we've learned Virginia Democrats are appealing that ruling all the way up to the Supreme Court. Thank you for being here with us tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm Lorenzo Hall. So Virginia Supreme Court justices say the Commonwealth violated its own constitutional process with this redistricting referendum. Our Matthew Torres has been getting reaction all day. So Matthew, this is overruling a decision we know, again, was made by voters.
Lorenzo, that's right. And it's also sending a big message across the country as redistricting battles are underway in several states. The Virginia Supreme Court's ruling is a significant moment for Republicans, but it is a major setback for Democrats who just 2 weeks ago celebrated what they thought was a redistricting victory. Tonight, a big win for Republicans in Virginia.
You cannot violate the Constitution in order to change the Constitution. The Supreme Court made that clear.
In a 4-3 ruling, the Virginia Supreme Court blocked the mid-decade redistricting referendum that would have given Democrats a 10-1 congressional map. Voters may have narrowly passed it last month, but justices ruled the Commonwealth violated its own constitutional amendment process.
Voters had a choice of what was on the ballot. Voters did not have a choice of whether the constitutional law was followed.
To pursue a constitutional amendment in Virginia, lawmakers are required to hold 2 votes with an election in between. The General Assembly first approved the amendment in October, but early voting was already underway for more than a month. But the Virginia Supreme Court says the first vote on the amendment was unprecedented and didn't count since they consider election to include early voting. Justice Arthur Kelsey wrote, this violation irreparably undermines the integrity of the resulting referendum vote and renders it null and void.
We told them on the floor of the Senate that this was an illegal action and they ought not do it.
Democrats argued election means election day.
Everything we did was vetted by nonpartisan independent counsel, and the Supreme Court has created a brand new definition of election, which not even the federal government adheres to. I'm disappointed. Courts typically do not undo democratic elections.
Democrat Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger also calling it disappointing. Other Democrats who wanted to redistrict to counter President Donald Trump's attempt to redraw states before the midterm elections are rebuking the Supreme Court's decision.
Virginians really want to check on President Trump. They want to check on what he's doing to Virginia, and this was the chance to do it. And the reality is, no one wanted to be here in the first place, but the 4 people on the Supreme Court decided they know better than the General Assembly. They know better than Virginians, and that's unacceptable.
All right, so what is next? Many consider this decision the end to redistricting efforts. But just minutes ago, as we told you off the top, we are now learning Democrats are appealing this ruling all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. That is an interesting move since political experts say typically SCOTUS normally does not take on cases about a state's constitutional law. We, of course, will stay on top of what happens next. Lorenzo?
Yeah, essentially saying this is not over. We'll be following it for sure. Matthew, thank you.